Good morning, gladiators. It's Tuesday, October 6th, 2020. So let's get started. All right, so today you're going to be learning about the factors of production. Hopefully, once this comes open, we can get started. But it seems like there it goes. All right, I apologize for that. All right, so let's start again. We will click on our blue folder, week of October 5th through the 9th. And today is Tuesday, October the 6th. All right. So, introduction to the four factors of production. Watch a short video on the four factors of production to gain understanding of how these factors intersect with one another to make an economic system work. All right. So, I will go and fix that now. I see there's an error. Okay. All right. That's better. And you will then watch this video. You're going to click here on factors of production video. Then you're going to review the PowerPoint on the four factors of production. I'm going to go through that with you in a bit. Then you're going to read the News Ella article on the four factors of production as an added resource. When you are done with that, then you will complete your assessment on the factors of production. So let's go ahead and start with the PowerPoint. All right. So the four factors of production, you'll be surprised how many people's ideas that come to mind on beginning a business comes with what they first analyze. What can they do that's going to thrive? That's going to do very well for them and for the people that they hire, and of course the economy. What is it that people want? What is it that people need? So many times it's all influenced based on ideas. So there are four factors. There's natural resources. What's available out there? What kind of resources can someone use that's out there in nature? The investment in human capital. So that would be not just the people who are working, but also the investment of the supplies that they need for that business. That would be your labor. And the investment in capital goods. So that is like your tractors. If you are a construction worker, then you need trucks. If you are a carpenter, you need hammers and tools. So all these things, anything that someone has in a business, they have capital. Okay. My capital is going to be my computer, my Elmo, my supplies that I need. So everyone has their own individual capital. Now, certain things are worth different, right? A different amount, but it's going to be based on the type of industry that you're in. Then you have entrepreneurship. That is the idea of that someone comes up with to begin a business. So the presence or absence of these factors, they're all going to determine on the country's GDP. It's called gross domestic product, but we call it GDP. So it's determined by what they make that year. Okay. GDP is the total value of all the goods and services produced in that country in one year. So obviously, this is going to vary country to country. It measures how rich or poor a country is. Some countries are very well established, like the United States. Then you have third world countries that maybe they don't have a high GDP. Maybe they don't have a lot of businesses because they know that it's very difficult to start up a business there for the reason that many people are poor. Okay, so it shows the country's economy how it's getting, whether it's getting better or worse. Raising the GDP of a country can improve the country's standard of living. But again, that's going to vary based on the people that you have in that country. And yes, you can bring jobs and it's going to slowly build the economy, but it doesn't happen overnight. Okay. All of the things found in or the earth's gifts of nature. So anything that we find out there that's a gift that's given to us by a higher power, a lot of times we use those resources to help us build companies or build ideas for a brand or to produce jobs. So examples would be land, water, even the sun, plants. time, air, minerals, and oil. So the economic growth again is going to be based on GDP, but also what you are importing from your country. So countries that import resources they need costly, so important to countries. Without them, countries wouldn't do well, right? So countries must import the resources they need into their country, but that's very costly. Okay, a lot of times they can't afford that. A country is better off if it can use its own resources to supply the needs of its people. And if a country has many natural resources, it can trade or sell them to other countries. So think about how other countries, there are things we don't have here that we have to bring in from China, from India, from Mexico. There are things that we don't make here. So we are importing, but at the same time, we are bringing things in. We're selling them here, which is helping our economy, but we're also giving them money, right? Because we're purchasing these things from them. So this is part of imports and exports that we're going to be talking about. Human capital, so this is the labor, this is the work that people do, okay? The skills, the talents, the education, this is what brings a business together, the people, okay? A country's literacy rate impacts human capital. So the people that you bring in, should know how to read and write. You'll be surprised how many countries aren't able to read and write. The percentage is very, very low. And we'll be going through that on Monday. So economic growth. So again, the nations that invest in the health, education, and training other people is going to help their workforce. It's going to help their labor. It's going to help their economy. It's going to help their people, right? More jobs, more opportunities for people within that country. And a lot of times you have to have training. You have to go to school and get an education, because this is not just something that you're just born with, right? A lot of times you require skill. Some people do have these natural skills, but for the most part, a lot of people don't. It requires training. And you have to know how to read and write. You have to know how to fill out an application. It starts with that. You have to know how to have interview skills. All this builds up to that job opportunity that you want. Capital goods, these are the tools that a company uses, or the entrepreneur, the investor. These are the tools that they need, that they use, that their labor uses, their employees use to make their company successful, right? They need tools to make tools. They need machines to make certain items. So this could be the same thing, like I said, the desk in my classroom. What are some capital goods used in our classroom? The desk, the Elmo, the computer, even the stick, the Apple stick where I point, the clickers, everything is capital in this classroom. So the more capital goods a country has, the more goods and services they're able to produce. Money is not a capital good, but rather a medium of exchange. So they have more things to produce, they have more capital, then they can produce more goods. A lot of times we're going to learn very soon that a lot of it is traditional economy, just basket weaving. Things that people have done the same way that they've done their whole lives, and the way their parents did, and their grandparents and their grandparents. It's just continuous. So we'll learn about those type of economies. Entrepreneurship, this is the idea that someone has to begin a business. But it takes money. It takes money because you have to have the idea, not only to get the license, get the insurance, but you also need to get a location. Where are you going to run your business from? And then you got to supply it with capital goods. You need to put things in there, that the tools that your employees, your labor are going to need, your human capital, that they're going to need to make your business successful. Entrepreneurship creates job and lessens unemployment. But there's a lot of risk to this too, and we'll talk about that today. The more entrepreneurs the country has, the higher the country's GDP will be. So think of the United States. Economic growth in a country is measured by the country's gross domestic product in 1 year. And what it does, it measures country to country. It checks a country's economic progress over time. Then you have the standard of living. This is how people live, what they earn, can they read and write. We'll talk a little bit more about that this week as well. And in summary, To encourage economic growth and raise the living standards of its citizens, there must be investment on human capital and capital goods. Human capital being your labor, the people you're going to hire, and the things that they need to be able to make your company successful. And we'll learn a lot more about that today. All right, my angels, have a good day. I will see you in a bit.